this is working or not. Hopefully this is working. I'm just going to fill up the dog's water. Welcome to Friday night. Hope you're well. Hey, Guitars Are Gay. I mean Sean. Hope you're well. How you doing? Hey Ken. Hey Vasco. Hey Derek. Hey Ritesh. Hartley putting together a parts cast with a thin affinity square body and an older Made in Mexico classic player, I guess you're going to be saying. So I've been thinking about this a little bit since making that video. Davey, I think antique or vintage. What is vintage? You mean a vintage guitar? That's right, Charles. You spotted it. And there's a sharp 11 that doesn't fit. Enjoy the open mic. I hope you have a good one. Sure. I used to run an open mic night with my wife. It's a good way to learn lots and lots of different songs, or play lots of songs at least. I've not heard of that, Davey, so I wouldn't know. What's the difference between that and an antique? Have you found a $200 guitar that fits the bill like that, Brent? Rummy says the guitar is the closest piece of gear to you behold it. Your instrument has to feel right, sound right, and look right. Buy once, cry once. That's a great saying. Hey Sam, how you doing, chap? So I thought about this, right? So we've got this idea that like Harley Benton or like this is an artist guitar, Sting's amazing. I think that was the Eva Casting melody that I was playing on that bit there. That they're cheaper, right? But Can anyone think of an American-built guitar that actually has stainless steel frets, except for Sir? I was sort of racking my brain on that a little bit. Luke's got Harley Benton ST25, that plays amazing, got that for 200. I think there's a lot of people that have ended up really nice with a really nice, Harley Benton. Hey David. Hey John, how you doing? So in Ernie Ball Music Man, right? What's the entry level price for a US Music Man? They do have a bit of a... Lower the volume of the track. I could just turn the volume of the voice up a bit. I think. Maybe not. Okay, I think the voice should be a bit louder now. As far as I can hear from the 2 notes I consume at a time. Is the internet slow in Denmark? Yeah, paying for time spent. That was kind of what I thought was a little bit missing from the Trappers vid, where it's like the reason it's cheaper is because we pay less, or they pay less over there. Squire Troublemaker? Yeah, I think, well, who's the other guy? Francis Dunnery. And Alan Murphy, right? As well as Simon Neil. What's the Troublemaker? Is that like a little bit of a hybrid? Is this streaming okay? Seems to be. There's certainly a time when people considered that Japanese guitars were actually better than American, right? Like in the troubled years of Fender. Tele Deluxe. I don't like the finish of this at all. The only sort of, but again, this is like the contours on here, like they're kind of sharp, like a little bit more RG-ish. Just what Ace Frehley like. He played a real 59 through a JCM 800. That's awesome. And a Strymon El Capistan. There's a couple of pedals like that, like the Flint, right, and the El Capistan, that even the greats are using them. You know, Julian Largers and Flint, I think. John Simmons says in the 80s Japan made were 100 better than US in general. Yeah, it's like a little bit of a sharper edge where I think you could have a bit more of a contour. Davey says, wish nitro body finish was more popular. Lots of folks seem to like it better. I like the idea that the guitar just ages with you. It's like a nice idea, I think, and would probably make me hold on to guitars for longer when you start to get a bit of a what would the word be? Like a rapport with that guitar. Whereas Polly doesn't quite have that same thing, in my opinion, for me. But I think there's reasons that people don't like to use nitro. I don't think it's particularly good for you, right? Might be dropping some screens. Yamaha SA2200. I've not actually ever played one. I've heard great things about them. My upload speeds. Oh, it's coming back up now. Right, we should be okay. Yeah, or another idea, like what about like if you've got one of these guitars, you don't want to use toxic nitro. What about just an oil type finish? Like on my Twatcasters, those are really straightforward. Hey Joe, so Joe's the reason that I did that Chappers video earlier, because I found it a really interesting sort of topic. The Fender Highway 1 Strats and Tellys had nice finishes. They had like a nitro kind of satin finish, right? Is that how Sandra got rid of the dog? Can your wife sing metal? She was in a pop punk band. Oh, sorry, I put my glass there. So she could do somewhat if she knows it. Oh, I guess, have you heard of the band or the choir Noir? They did some stuff with Bring Me the Horizon, Gojira and stuff like that. She has sung in that choir. That's kind of cool. Right, frame rate is still being gash. Let me see. I can try and do some bends on this. Not working well. It's dropping frame rates. Is this working for you guys or no? Hey Lee, do I know the song Overcome by Nothing But Thieves? No, but Lenny likes that band. Got a Les Paul Standard faded, nitro, only the lack of being thin enough to give it that fader look. I really like the look. I bought one of those greeny ones. Yeah. Like that really, I like the look of that. I mean, it worked the last few times, Jim, that's why I'm surprised. Try and move where the router is. Is that a thing? I think maybe the internet is bad at this time. I don't like bending on a 14-inch radius. Still dropping frames like a dog from a car park. Thinking about listing my dead mint Harley Benton ST25 in finest gold. How come? You inspired me to get the Silver Jubilee. Yeah, awesome little one. Do you have an internet sucks? I'm doing it from mobile, which is dire. Cheap or expensive? Anyway, embarrassing playing a cheap Chapman if you're doing a professional concert. I'd rather be seen with a what's a PRI? PRS? John, I think your question is flawed. Cheap is relative. A couple of years ago, expensive guitar was a £2,000 guitar. Now I've got money from becoming further. Wet Craig has the wisdom. I've had people suggest these things. Right, I don't know if the sound's good, but I don't know why the video's not, because it's been good the last few times, relatively. What can I do about that? Settings. Stream, output, encoder preset, fast, video bitrate, streaming, software, audio bitrate, stream, appearance, video, FPS values. I can't change it whilst it's going. Bollocks. It should be fairly, I don't know, sorry guys. Could play music like this on a Marshall? Yeah, you can. Just have to turn it down. Finger Bang says, I don't know about the rest of you, but my adverts keep being interrupted by a middle class smooth jazz guitarist. Yes. Virginia Beach, Rich is at. OBS is tricky sometimes, says Jeremy. Yeah, annoying. I don't know whether it's a bandwidth issue on my end. Probably is. But some nights, I guess this is maybe one of these nights. Back to you. no data now. Should be hardwired. Sorry about the video, I'm trying to remedy it as we go. It's not worked. Better. What if I change this quality bit here? Working? Seems like. Do you reckon Giacomo can come back? What do you reckon? Is there redemption for him? Over sus13 structures, soloing over blues changes, major 7 arpeggios. So I think these are Ernie Ball 10s according to the specs. I think it's dropping frames again, maybe. Right, let me do some thinking here on the spot. So I've been asked about, well, I mean, it's evening, John. Hey, Crits, how you doing? Do you moisturise your hand? Eric Shin asks. I don't. Maybe I should. Maybe that would help me. There's a question here about playing. Playing the major arpeggios in a major 7 arpeggios in a blues context. So I'm trying to think how that would work. So maybe over the G. Yeah, over the G7 you could do like an F major arpeggio. And then over the C7, I'm going to guess you're going to be playing. What would you be playing over that? Like B flat. Like that? Is that what you mean? Chat member? It looks like my frame rate has gone down to bollocks again. Sorry about this. Hold on to holding 2 dicks. Erection. Is it erection? Is that what you're saying about? Trying to get into cruise ship gigs, pretty common requirement, fresh out of uni, trying to avoid getting a real job. The thing that I've known a few people that have gone on to cruise ships is to be a little bit careful. I think there's a little bit of a culture of like quite a lot of alcohol in that kind of situation. Let's try it over all blues kind of. 1, 2, 3, 2. That's not right. Try some major 7 when I switch over to here. Yeah, that really works quite well in that way. So I'm using it to sort of imply. Like a B flat. Try it. This is just someone just suggested it in chat as a topic. So, over whatever our chord is, we can do a major 7 a step below. CDF62, your comments are not ghosted. You're asking me to see a physician, right? Maybe I should see a psychiatrist instead. It's actually quite an effective way to get the Mixolydian sound, right? I quite like, so like you start on the 7, on the major 7. So when I come to the B flat, that one's quite nice. On the D, it's quite an interesting way. Okay, can you email me this musicman295 just to remind me, because I think it's quite a different way to get around the blues. Where have you heard this concept from as well? So I'll just go back to basic G minor pentatonic. Sprinkle one in here now on the 4. And now on the 5. That's nice. Do a similar idea with minor 7s, right? So I'm thinking now D minor over the G, so I'm thinking of the 5th of whatever route I'm on. Then over the C, I'd be thinking of the G minor. And over the D, A minor. It's a really, yeah, I don't know why I've not really thought about it this way. So he suggested doing a video where I was using a major 7 arpeggio in the blues, and I kind of thought about how I would do it. So I'm thinking about building a major 7 from the flat 7 of whatever chord I'm on. The ladies from the lesbian weekends. Or you could do a minor from the 5th. So we're on C, so now go G minor. That's a really interesting way to play the blues. When you want to go a bit darker, just straight to that. A minor. Yeah, darker, I'm just going back to like a G minor pentatonic or G blues. Or G Dorian. I call him the wrong Guthrie because it's not going. Yeah, that's a great idea. Can you email me that idea, Music Man? I find that enjoyable way to sort of think about blues in a really different way. Cheers so much, BR Bogo. BRB. I appreciate that. Will my finger do? Yes, it will. What are you drinking? It's, I think, like an Audi version of Barocca. George suggests that it's fast for it. I think the name is George. Apologies if it's not. Thank you so much for the chat donation. Is that going to be a useful video for guys? I started doing a video on a really niche exercise that I've been enjoying, but I've kind of held off actually putting the video out because I feel like it'll just tank. Right, so let me think about just static over the G, how I would play. Those kind of 2-note per string voices kind of go all over the place, right? So maybe that's a bit of a large. just play over a static G for this as an exercise. Or static. Like a G Mixolydian sound. Whoops. So you could do that shreddy. No, it's gone to it's gone out the window. So that's it's all gone out of the window now, and I'm thinking about it too hard. Right, maybe it's the loop that's doing me. Let's try it. Try this then. I could do like an F spread triad, speaking of EJ. This is kind of more triad pairy type thinking now. So just like an F triad. And a G triad. I think that major 7 actually works a bit better because we're going from, how is it working? We're going from the like the 6, the flat 7, to 6. Wait, that's a 9, 11, and 6 again. So maybe it's that sound of the major 6. Gives it that open sound. Sorry. The other one, like if you do a minor from the 5th. So we're going for D minors all over the neck. Just thinking, just D Dorian. That actually frees me up quite a bit. I'm actually way freer thinking about it just as a D Dorian. like an A major triad to get a more. Then altered lick. I'm just playing an A dominant. What would like a B dominant kind of has a weird. A lot of time just spent doing this sort of thing, George, to be honest with you. You're seeing me kind of working it out in real time. It's a lot of playing. Yeah, it's holding its it's kind of a mixture of theory and also like having quite a good sort of muscle memory of wood. So and so would Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. It's never really a move, it's just like adding new other little bits and pieces, George, I think, rather than moving on from what you know. Sort of just expanding what you know, I guess, would be a way to think about it. Just a lot of, you know, it's not, you have to have like time to sort of sit around and twat about on a guitar for ages. How are you getting on with the power supply, John? Actually, I've got to do a bit complicated. Yeah, we got a bit of. wood. I do know complicated. Power supply. What a banger that tune is. So, any questions about anything? Or anyone got any more opinions on stuff that they want to share? Like their dog's getting chucked off a car park or whatever? Jim's been suspiciously quiet for a while. It almost seems like he's maybe gone to the toilet or he's having an argument with his Indian housemate or something. Dogs off car parks. My dog turned one today. That's nice. Turned one what? Derek, where are you trying out a K-line? St. Louis. So you're going round to check one out. That's cool. So he is based in St. Louis, or is it St. Louis? Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. You could consider sending him an email, because I think he is open to people coming and seeing the actual finishing shop and stuff, so it might be worth shooting him a message. The worst he could say is, get out of my garden. What is the bodywood on this? It's a good question. It feels heavy-ish. Artist, Paisley, guitar. I'm going to guess it might be Alder. Just because I'd imagine if it was Poplar it would be a bit lighter. I think that the interesting thing that's happening at the moment. Interesting. I got the last one that was in stock. Where is this? There's quarter sawn maple on it. Body construction solid. Does it say what the bodywood is? Mahogany. Mahogany. Ah, that's why it's heavy. It's a mahogany body. That's interesting. Do you happen to be in the mood for a little When She Loved Me? No. No, because it... Where are we at? Did you listen to the Justin Vernon version yet? That one's for Wadey. Sorry about the bum notes. I have an Artist Strat and Telly 2.9 kilos. This is the first time after 70 plus guitars that I don't feel I need to grab Gibson and Fender after some time. Just great. I was thinking this. Someone was asking in my DMs whether I thought that this could compete with a player, like a Fender player. And I think absolutely. The one area that I feel like it maybe would struggle would be against like the higher end Fender stuff, or if you're looking for a very specific sort of Fender feel. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, there's a tab for it somewhere on my Patreon. If you shoot me a DM, I'll try and find it for you, George, and just send it over. But yeah, it's a banger. Do the PRS core guitars with the carved top have similar comfort to a Strat with the contours? I've never tried one. Do you mean with the violin carve? What's it called? Or like so basically as you go up to the more expensive PRS guitars, PRS core, so you don't mean S2. They are quite comfortable, yeah. But I've not played a ton of them. But I find the S2 carve is really nice as well. I've not played I have played a real DGT, but the strap was low on it, so I got really no memory of it. It takes more labour to improve an instrument. Labour requires money. Should Fender USA's best bolt-on neck guitars fetch a price of $2,200? Nope. Yeah, so maybe that's the point, is that we're overpaying for some things. But it takes more labour to improve an instrument. Labour requires money. But the thing is, I feel in some way it's tab that it's written in. You have a music degree. I don't have a music degree. Yeah. I set up my guitars on my own and learned me that every cheap guitar which has even frets and straight neck can be playable like an expensive guitar if you only know how to treat it, Michael says. This is what I noticed when I bought an all parts neck the other day, and I took it out of the box, and it's just like, oh, this feels like a cheap guitar neck. And what I concluded from that is that, you know, the further you get up the line, the more, in some cases, like the nicer a guitar neck feels, if it is coming out of a CNC machine, the more someone has taken time to make that feel better, right? But that's the thing with some of these cheaper kind of, that seems to be where they're putting a lot more attention. Like since Sire, I feel like they kind of changed the game in cheap guitars in terms of actually the thing that matters most to a guitarist in a lot of ways is kind of this part of the guitar, right? And you'll put up with a little bit of, you know, not as stellar work on this side of the guitar in terms of paint or whatever. If the neck is done really well, then that is kind of quite a lot of the battle. Remember that the Fender Ultra Lux line had stainless steel frets, and those were going for 2,500 about. Yeah, it seems like there's not many US builders using stainless steel frets at all. I think Sir were for a while, and Anderson guitars, but Anderson I think are still relatively small and boutique, and I think Sir are now no longer really boutique. Michael says, I bought the PRSC SC24 Standard Saturn is my first guitar. Is that good? It's a great first guitar, yeah. I've gigged one of those. It's a really fun, decent guitar. Michael Worskan. I don't think I prefer stainless steel frets, but I have to say, when they are polished well, like the Ibanez AZ standard that I bought was not, and like a rough stainless steel fret is going to feel rough forever, right? Whereas a smooth one is going to feel smooth forever, right? Well, not forever, but for a long time. Cheers, Lamar. Any other sort of requests, anything else anyone wants to talk about, feel free. Sandra could tell us the rest of her saga if she's still around. Yeah, it'd be really interesting to hear. Cheap guitars that have stood the test of time for you. I think that is one of the problems with cheaper guitars, right? It's always like quite a lot of grass is greener type thinking with it. Even if you're perfectly happy with it, just because it's cheaper, do you fall in love the same way? Squire debut, yeah, I did a video of that. It would be nice if we drop good for the money phrase. Is it good or not? I think the for the money thing is really important though, because like how impressive is it to build a guitar for like £5,000-6,000 and it to be good? Like that is pretty much all of the expectation. To me, with guitars that are valuable and cost more, there is a certain romance to it that a cheap guitar doesn't have, like a guitar that you would pass down to your children and keep in the family, Carl says. Yeah, absolutely. Or like a guitar that feels like... Yeah, I totally understand that. Like a bit of an heirloom type thing to it. And like George has said here, though, I wish I never fell in the trap of buying more budget guitars early on, because I think that is the thing, where you end up sometimes buying like a lot of them because they are affordable, and you kind of then have a rack full of guitars that you don't feel that strongly about any of them, except for they were quite good guitars for the money. That's one other thing I've heard people say, like buy the most expensive guitar you can afford, which I'm not sure if that's great advice either. Yeah, surround. Yeah, I get that feeling, like the feeling that you're getting loads of guitars. Yeah, but wouldn't you have just played like one mid-price guitar just as much? Yeah, and then AN says then you build a collection of expensive guitars, then you realise it was the same trap, just more money. Play now. Yeah, just buying a guitar because it's expensive or having a collection of lots of expensive guitars has the same sort of feeling for me, but also you have like a guilt thing with it. Whereas with the cheaper guitars, it just feels like a thing that you don't feel that strongly about in some cases. It's weird, isn't it? Psychology of this stuff. Is doing fractal gas. I'm working on a video on the FM3. Oh, why is that doing that? I've just made it do stuff. Face now, innit? Right, how do we get it to stop doing what it was doing? Is it that? I think it's that. Then I can move back down. Guitars are made from wood and metal. Necks move a lot, as frustrating as it is. Yeah, especially so. Even if it's an expensive guitar, like shipping them across the sea is not great for them, is it? And so sometimes you can have a really kind of negative opinion on the guitar, which all it would have really taken might have been for you to kind of give it a bit of a truss adjustment, and you'd have been back where it needed to be. That's kind of the case with cheap and expensive guitars, right? Do it in there. That, isn't it? for the road if you're a gigging musician, and a guitar for the bedroom player. I believe the mindset and the needs and desires are different. I think you might be surprised how yeah, a lot of the pro guitarists that I know are just in the same sort of space, and probably have similar sorts of earnings to a lot of James Cook. You just have to start getting into the idea of trying to play a chord and a melody at the same time, and you'll start to basically learn a few grips, and then it kind of becomes a bit unconscious. But the way that I kind of got better at it was doing like a jazz tune every single week, figuring out a chord melody for it. It's just kind of a useful skill for that exact thing, and then you can sometimes sort of improvise something that half sounds like a song. But I've done She's Leaving Home before. Some of these things I won't have before. George doesn't believe in needing a different guitar for gigging. I understand not wanting to have an expensive instrument stolen or damaged, but my opinion is that is a waste of an instrument. Yeah, if you really, really like a guitar, then in some ways, like, you want to gig it. And if you've, for me personally, if I felt like I couldn't or didn't want to gig a guitar, like, to some extent, like, not if it was just a terrible gig in a terrible venue, but if you never want to gig the thing, then it's, depending on how important you feel like the gigs are to you. But then there's a bunch of people that will be watching this that don't do gigs anyway, so for you guys, like, it doesn't mean that you can't have an expensive guitar. Alex in Nashville. Great to hear from you, Alec. They have to be played outside at different places. Do you gig, Carl? Is that what you mean? So here's the thing, I don't necessarily believe that all guitars that are necessarily that great. Like, some of these guitars that are built to be collected, I'm sure some of them are great, I'm sure some of them are not. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a mixture of guitars that are out there that are average-ish. Some guitars are really good, some guitars really suit someone. That they're on someone's wall somewhere doesn't necessarily, I don't feel any kind of way about that, to be honest, because it's kind of like, well, that's someone who's got it there. You know, it probably helps the music industry for someone to have bought some of this expensive stuff from Gibson or whatever. Yeah, old man Fran said, luckily it's a more or less free world. If you can afford it, you should be able to get whatever you want and do whatever you want with it. I think it's like a personal decision about whether you're buying a piece of gear because you think it will be worth something, or whether you're buying it because you really want it. And I bought things like a Klon KTR because I thought actually that's kind of a good thing that I could sell quite quickly. And then when the opportunity came to sell it, I just did, because it's like, actually I bought this not because I wanted to play this piece of gear. John Paisley, yeah. Called me Brad today. But you got people like Tom Bukovac and Joe Bonamassa who gig those things, and I think that's cool. You know, Kirk Hammett bought that guitar, gigs it. I think that's really cool as well. I think Matt Healy from the 1975 was gigging a 61 Strat for a while as well, right? I think it is nice to see some of these guitars getting gigged, but I'm sure there's a whole bunch of them which aren't that amazing to play either. And so they can sit on a wall if you want, right? Can I post Manhattan? Post it? How do you mean? What's this bit? Don't remember that bit. Sorry. Should look over that bit. I think vintage is supposed to be like 25 years old apparently, so it's now 2000, which doesn't sound right. But I don't know if that might be a moving target. What kind of gigs am I mainly doing at the moment? Dave the Greco asks. Just the normal person gigs, so like wedding gigs, pub gigs with my buddy Jake. We do there's a venue called the Ship in Lyme Regis. We're playing Sidmouth Folk Festival at the end of this week. Yeah, exactly. Is vintage considered? I don't know. What is a vintage guitar? Is a good question. How old is a vintage guitar? 30 years or older. But I mean, 30 years is, if that was 1960. 30 years in 1990, right? Yeah, Joe Miller's vintage. Yeah, 25 or 30, I think it seems to be the kind of... Not exactly vintage, yeah. So I think it's, I guess 1995-ish is about the kind of era. But I think that at this point it's more about eras of guitars that people are interested in, isn't it? Like pre-CBS Fender, people aren't interested particularly in a 70s Fender or a 90s Fender in some cases. Do you know what I mean? It's more about the eras. What's a Galanti guitar? try again. I think that's a really interesting question about vintage guitars. I think the thing is, if you've, I don't know how many of you have played many of them. Well, I think have we just lost Livestream? Quite possibly. Reload. Is that going to work? Back. Feel like we've just crashed. We might be back. It's still here. I think there is this idea that there was an era of building these guitars. If you hear Tom Bukovac talk about it, I think it's quite an interesting concept. Like, it's the post-war period, and if you think like certainly amps that are being built today, like by Fender, I think there's probably a fair amount of agreement that they're cutting corners if you listen to people like Psionic Audio. And one of the things that you get with vintage guitars, there's kind of my take on it, is that, like, if you imagine your hand is still a piece of sandpaper, so that neck is still getting shaped. Jeremy points out they're not building trees like that anymore, growing trees, sorry, and like, so it is a real thing. Like, the ash in America is kind of, yeah, worn in shoes. This kind of, it's definitely a thing, right? And cars aren't built exactly the same. I think in some ways they're probably quite a bit more reliable, and it's probably not the case that every vintage guitar is amazing, but it's kind of the thing when you find one that's been played a lot, that there is something about the way that neck feels. The pickups will have been over time degaussed in some cases, and that's a thing. You know, typically like an older guitar is going to sound a bit darker, a bit warmer, however you want to call it. Like, these are not necessarily things that make them sound hugely different from other guitars. Essentially paying for someone to break your guitar in some ways, it's beyond breaking your guitar in though. Of like really old guitars that have been played a lot. So I've not played tons of them, but so for instance, I had on the channel a SG from 1968, I think it was, and that really did feel significantly different to everything else. It's not better necessarily, but you know, compared to a new SG, I know which I would pick every time. And I think that's probably how people that really like vintage gear feel, because once you've played like an old Strat versus a new Strat that has been made, you know, how many Strats are they churning out a year? Yeah. I think there is quite a bit of vintage snobbery, but I also think there's a little bit... Says, what about vintage instruments compared to mass-produced, even Far East guitars in today's standards? I feel like maybe we're just caught up in the whole vintage is better. It's not vintage everything either, is it? So like, you can get old guitars from Japan from the 60s for not crazy money. Also, a lot of guitars aren't made by luthiers, they're made by people looking for work that have a woodwork background in some cases, or maybe just people that are looking for a job in a factory, right? I did edit a bit of the video out in that case where it's like, yeah. Because I remember watching an old Gibson video where they talked about the most skilled part of the job being the binding. In 2097, are people going to be saying the tone is in the 2025 guitars? I think there'll still be an eras thing. Like if you look at the Gibson stuff, that there are like even modern era stuff where it's like actually we liked what they were doing better here. So like 2005 to 2015 is a bit of a dark period, whereas like they could have the Goodwood era and stuff like that, and now I think they're in a bit of a better place than they were, say, up until about 2018. It does matter, like these guitars are being made in factories by people, do you know what I mean? So it's a factory can produce worse or better quality stuff, can it? Like that definitely is a thing. So it makes sense to me that guitars from certain eras could be better or worse. And I think this is a thing I've heard Keith from 5 Watt World say, like when he was talking about PRS, like they'd have this concept of like a Friday guitar, or like a guitar that was sort of chucked together and rushed maybe because it was on a Friday versus like on a Monday. Some guitars are built better on a Monday. It's a Friday guitar, it's a Monday guitar or whatever. Charles saw a video recently by LSL and they said they don't hire people who have worked on guitar so they can teach them exactly how to make their guitars. How many people work at LSL? Is that a big company? So I don't hear too much about that company. Where are they built? They sort of came out of nowhere for me. Handmade in LA. All parts made in house. Yeah, interesting. Husband and wife couple Lance and Lisa in a garage. Taught banjo in Berkeley. Yeah, that's kind of a cool thing. I've not looked into them too much because they sort of weren't on my radar for a long time. But yeah. Have you played a Chapman? I have one of the first ones and I swear it's got to weigh 10 kilograms. It also isn't great. I've heard things about Chapman guitars being kind of heavy. I've not played one, no. I've never been particularly that interested for whatever reason. I think because they're more on the metal side. Sort of higher output stuff. Sort of like that Rabia sort of stuff where it's like, well actually I prefer lower output stuff because I'm not really chugging away. I'm kind of a single coil guy, so never has a Chapman guitar come out that kind of fitted with me, if that makes sense. I have heard people say that some of them are heavy, but I think that's also the case with quite a lot of guitars. They were made in World guitars, right? Do I still use my Ibanez RG Prestige? I don't have one, Gaurav. I think that's the case for a lot of people. Like they bought a Chapman guitar just because they were fans of Chapman, and there's nothing wrong with that at all, is there? And I think he must really have kind of learnt a lot about the industry from doing that. The one kind of thought as well that I did have for this is that the kind of guitar building in America is different to over in the East, where in the East they're like happy to build guitars for people, like. Whereas in America, like you're not going to get Fender to do OEM manufacturing for you, are you? I don't think. Court is the Indonesian factory. I think World Guitars is Korean, I think. But I think he's had a few places building for him, right? And attempted. So I think he did some attempts at building some stuff in England as well. Like sort of smaller run boutique stuff. But yeah, if you're going to do it in America, if you're going to build a Chapman guitar in America or England, it's going to have to be a boutique guitar on it, and they're going to be expensive small runs. And I just don't think people in that case don't have much of an appetite for that so much, right? Yeah, Court is the big manufacturer in Indonesia now. They used to be in Korea, and then they moved. I think Peerless is still in Korea, right? Yeah, Samick as well. I think that is the thing. I think most consumers are playing the well-known brands, and that's totally to be expected, right? Like Fender, Gibson, they make up 60. I just looking this up as just the other day. Top UK guitar builder. Are there any? Except for boutique stuff. So I don't know is there anyone mass producing guitars in the UK? Is it Gordon Smith? I don't know to what level do they build at, or is it Shergold guitars? Are those built in the UK as well? Are there any kind of guitar factories in the UK? I can do Little Wing again if you want. Let's see, maybe we'll go somewhere else. Hi, Alan. When I shake that neck like that, I'm getting a bit of a click. I think PJD are some of the people that were building Chapman guitars, right? I think they're quite small. Minor or F major. Right, we'll go F. Let's try it. So, I think Crims would be a boutique as well, right? So Atkin Guitars is just one guy making them, the electrics. So this is Little Wing in F, if you want. Yeah, George, the thing is that they don't build guitars with the same specs in different factories. The only people that really do that are Ibanez with the AZ and Yamaha with the Revstar. Other than that, most manufacturers specifically make it different, so it's kind of hard. It won't work over this. yeah, it's just one guy building electric guitars called Lawrence at Atkins. What's JJ? Try this. Frank. Putting the acid to Ambassador. Is there any benefit to the 14-inch radius? For me, I don't like the way bends feel. It feels... I used to have a G&L tribute series, the ASAP Blues Boy. Style radius, really. It's got to be bedtime now. That's really appreciated. I'm into dogs and music. Right. Dogs sleep in our bed, George. This is the thing that I hear a lot about, like how hard it is to bend on a 7.25. I find it easier to bend than with a flatter radius. I'll be well up for that, John. You had to choose between being known solely for sick, twangy country riffs or heavy, gent rhythm style. Which would you choose? I go with country, it's closer to jazz. Yeah, but this would choke out, I think. We're just... Duke Levine, another guy that can do the country or jazz thing. Danny Gatton, Brent Mason. I never really understood the point of a compound radius, if I'm totally honest, Joe. That's two tones. Yeah, I've never felt like I wanted a guitar neck to be flatter, honestly. Like, I quite like a 7.25 on that Silver Sky. It just feels super comfortable to me. Even though I grew up playing RGs. Right, anyway, it's got to be bedtime. Thanks everyone for stopping in on Friday's impromptu one. Have I ever tried much LTD guitars? No, I've never played one at all. It's an ESP. I've never really played an ESP or an LTD guitar. I think I was kind of coming out of the metal phase by the time they started getting more popular. Yeah, that's it. Literally where I learned that one from Another Brick in the Wall. It's like the first time I remember hearing it. And also, John Petrucci in the Lines in the Sand solo has one of them. Buy some camo cargo shorts and try an ESP. Yeah, aren't they kind of just like slightly pointier Les Pauls or Gibsons? Camo Cordy. I might get a Washburn. Yeah, this is Nemo. He's been needy all day. But yeah, thanks everyone for stopping by. Some Pink Floyd next. I've got to go to bed now. Sold my HX Stomp on a whim. Can the Nano Cortex fill its shoes? I think it can do quite a lot of cool stuff. Next time, beers on me. Cheers, Vasco. What's a good name? Nemo? Is that? This dog's called Nemo because he only has 3 legs and a fin. Yeah, shoot me a message, John. I need to do a video with those 2 pedals, so I haven't done it yet. Kind of run out of time. Right, catch you all soon. Cheers for stopping by. Cheers, Joe. Cheers, George. Yeah, shoot me an email, Music Man. That was a great idea. Cheers, Derek. Cheers to everyone who's done the old donation thing. Appreciate that. Cheers for stopping by. See you later.